Welcome to Dirty Secrets University, where tuition is the cost of a free subscription, and hitting the bell will set reminders so you never have to miss class again.
Welcome. I go by Dirty Secrets, and I'm so excited that you're here and that I'm here. I've been wanting to do this for way too long, and today is the day. Okay, so I wear multiple hats. I'm a music producer. I know how to DJ. I'm a video editor, and that's important because that's what I'm teaching today. I'm teaching you the ins and outs of how to be a video editor, and I just wanted to share knowledge because I found it very difficult to learn, and now that I know how, I want to teach you how. So the goal of the series was to showcase a project start to finish with very little editing so you can witness a real person working in real time, troubleshooting real issues as they come up naturally. And I think that's super, super important because so many videos out there are like, wham, bam, slam, finished. And you're like, wait, what? Exactly. So this is gonna be turtle slow. It's a very long video because it's just me working. So that being said, if you want to cook dinner while you watch this and just take note of little timestamps that would be relevant or you want to revisit later, I highly encourage that. Because that would be crazy for me to ask you to sit here for like an hour and 20 minutes. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm so pumped. Let's begin.
Today's class is all about logging. If you haven't already done so, please consider catching yourself up on how to organize raw footage. Logging is comparable to a logbook where you want to label each clip with important descripting information. Once logging is complete, we will export this media with Project Manager, and that will complete this class. So let's begin. Now that we have our handy dandy Premiere Pro session open, we're going to create a new project. I'm going to name it 100 Years. I like to work in caps, and this is going to be the naming convention file. Perfect. So we are going to be saving it to the drive that I am working on. There we go. And I'm gonna create a new session folder, and we will put it right in there. Create session. Perfect. So this is the way I like to organize myself. I don't need the timeline, so Command W to close that window. I like to click and drag my project window below the video. Just going to move this over for now, and we're going to drag everything into the media area. I recommend you open your audio meters. So I like to have the audio meters open in case we have a slow-mo clip and it won't play audio in this section. I don't know that there will be any slow-mo clips in here, but that's okay. So I'm doing this completely unedited so you can see that this is not a perfect process and that you will have to click around and move things as you go. So I just want this to be super raw, so I'm sorry if I trip up on any words. But this is how I like to work. I have this window open and you can scrub through really easily and click down here, and then as I was mentioning, we have the audio that pops up in this corner. So now that we have all of our footage imported into our session, I like to click save. That way this is ground zero for you. If you need to restart from here, you don't have to reorganize yourself. I have this extension tool. It's called Rename It. The Rename It is a third party, so it does not come with Premiere. And it's really handy dandy. It popped open in this other side video. So this is what it looks like. And this is where I like to remove the .mxf, and we also have .mp4 videos in here. So I will click the name box, and this is where you indicate what you're searching for. So mxf, and it's found 142 items, and you just want to replace that word with a dash so it becomes Saint-Jean Cercle A1028-1-, and that's exactly what's going to happen here when we press let's go. And that's the ideal thing that we want, because then in our naming file, which we are currently working in, is where we're going to add an extra labeling to each video. So we have the .mxf done. Is there MP4 in here? There is, so let's just find them. Here we go. I don't get rid of the .wav because this is not our final session. This is just like our pre-working session. So we're don't really care about that right now. And I don't know that there's any MOV in here, but we can check. No MOV is perfect. So we are now currently all done with this window. Again, good practice to just save your session as you go along. So essentially we're going to go down and give each of these a separate name after our initial naming. So over here, it looks like it's an interview. Unfortunately, I don't have the names of these people. If you are doing this for someone else or for yourself, you would have access to that, so you should find that. So for now, I'm just probably going to call this person 1. And then with my handy dandy tool later, I can rename it, find person 1, and swap it out for the person's existing name. So I'm going to go person 1 interview, and this is like a wide shot. I think it was a stylistic choice for the boom and the light to be. So I'm just gonna leave it just person 1 interview wide. So clip 1 done. So next one. So this is obviously a different person. So person 2 interview wide. So lots of interviews by the looks of it. Person 3 interview. And I go wide because you want to indicate the style of the shot, whether it's like a close-up, a medium close-up, a medium, a wide, a medium wide, extreme close-up, anything that would be useful to whoever's editing to search those keywords in this search engine over here. So if I hit wide, all these will just naturally drop down. You can be as specific or non-specific with your naming convention, but it is very time consuming. You're spending at least 1 minute per clip, and I think I have about 300 clips in this session. So this is person 1 again. So person 1 interview wide, and we're gonna -2 and -1 because you don't want clips to have the same name. So just be mindful of the names that you have used. Just try to be as organized as possible. So this is person 4 interview. This is me being sloppy, but try to spell everything properly. I can't remember if this is person 2 or not, so feel free to go back and look. So definitely not the same person. So person 5 interview wide, and I should probably keep that the same as the others. So this is good that this is here. Sorry if that was piercingly loud. So this would be like a B-roll shot for sure, and it's not slow-mo because of those audio. So just scrub through it. So what is this? Like a street post B-roll. I'll leave that for now. So this is where you have to kind of indicate the type of shot. So this is technically like well, the opposite of a bird's eye is a warm view. So this is a warm view, and it kind of tilt pans to the main character, or one of the main characters or actors in this shoot, riding a bike down the bridge. And it is a tracking shot because it is following the subject at hand. So I guess I'll put that into words. So warm view, tilt pan. I don't know her name, but we will find that later. I'll call her Blue. Warm view, tilt pan, Blue, riding. I'm also terrible at spelling. Riding a bike down the St. Boniface Bridge. Tracking. I would say this is maybe like a medium. And I'm going to refer as this person as Blue for the entirety of this up until I can find a name. And then I will go in my extension, rename it and search for blue and swap out them all. Let's say her name is Pink, and it'll just change the name. I'm going to undo that for now, but I'm just showing you as an example. All right, let's keep going. So this would be pretty much the same shot, except we're no longer going to be medium. So I'm just going to copy paste that over. And you see how quickly I did that. I'm going to undo it and do it again. So I'll select the wording I want, copy. And if I have this highlighted, press enter, it'll drop down to the next clip in line. If I use my arrow key to the right, it'll go at the end of what's currently written, and I can add text. In this case, I'll just paste. How quick and handy dandy. I'm going to remove the medium because this is more of a wide shot, I would say, and it is still tracking. So tracking wide. Perfect. In your naming conventions, you don't use any dots or commas. You just want to stick to straight lettering. So this is Blue riding a bike down the St. Boniface Bridge. I would go if she was walking, I would say footsteps close up, but it's not really footsteps, it's her riding a bike. So it would be, I don't know, foot pedaling. My goodness, my spelling. Pedaling. Pedaling close up. Again, my spelling is awful. Please don't judge me, but you can spell check things later. I'm just trying to give you the basics. All right, great. Let's press save. So this would be Taché Avenue street sign. And I'm going to go B-roll. So B-roll, we have one up here and down here, are going to be clips that are not necessarily pertinent to the story, but are good filler clips. I forgot to add the type of shot. This is probably going to be, let's just say medium, because it's not really a close-up. It's not really far back either. And see how I'm like going back and forth between clips and kind of renaming them as I go and I get more information. I think that's super important to mention because you're not going to name everything perfectly from the get-go. And sometimes by the end of my whole naming file, I'm like, damn, I wish I could go rename everything, but it's just not really worth that time. This, I would say, is more of like a wide shot. All right, so we've got Blue on her bike again. So she's just riding down the bike path and it is tracking. So Blue, this time I think I would indicate back view because it's not the front. Back view, Blue riding her bike down pedestrian path near the river. And I know this because I live in this city and the river is right there and the person who shot it will also know that. So there's a lot happening in this shot. You don't have to be crazy descriptive. So this is like wide. Tracking wide. And then it kind of goes to like a medium. And then I'm just going to go to bike close up. Because you're still getting a lot of information without being too crazy. And I think there is another thing to mention here is I'm the one naming this for someone else, and they're not necessarily going to be using the words that I use. So don't go overboard. Just try to get the general consensus of this clip. If you wanted to, you could go back and add front view. Oops, not there. So warm pan to front view of Blue riding her bike. And I'm going to change it here. Of Blue. Oops. So see how things are kind of taking shape here? I obviously don't want to sit here and go through each clip with you guys, but I feel like it's important. So this is side view of Blue riding her bike down the sidewalk. This is like a medium wide shot. And I would still say it's tracking because they are following the subject. Like, I know she's passing a cemetery here, but I don't think that that's very pertinent to the story because she's just in the city. You know, like you don't, if it was a location she's going to, like if she was going to the cemetery, I would say Blue riding her bike and arrives at cemetery, and then the cemetery story would take place, but that's not the case here, so I think this is plenty. So this is a church, so this is pretty much the same thing, but it's going to be a wide shot. Blue. Blue riding her bike down the sidewalk. Blue riding her bike off frame down the sidewalk. Medium wide. I think that's what I would do. And there's a little extra space here, so I would just take that away so it's nice and uniform. Nice, so this is coming along swimmingly. Hit save every once in a while. Okay. So this is going to be a pan of the church. Medium wide. I'm going to put low angle in the front because low angle is kind of like when they're looking up, and then high angle would be when they're looking down. So they're definitely looking up, and it's definitely B-roll. I'm going to take this again. This time we're going to add the numbers at the end. So this is like a forward shot. Again, I don't know that anyone would specifically search forward, but I'm going to use it. So forward. Motion while Blue rides her bike off frame. Yeah, I'm gonna say wide. See, this is tricky. Like, naming these clips is definitely not an easy job. You're gonna second guess yourself the whole time, but I think it's better to just write down what you see, just keep moving forward. You're gonna spend about a minute per clip, and I think that's a good way to kind of gauge how long it's gonna take you. or sometimes it's going to be really easy and you can kind of just copy paste all the wording throughout. So again, be as descriptive as you want. I don't think that you need to indicate every single camera motion. You just want to capture the gist of the story. So this is still Blue riding her bike down the sidewalk, but is not a tracking shot anymore. You're not following the subject. The camera's in a still place, but the subject is moving. So that's very important to keep in mind. So Blue riding her bike down the sidewalk. I'm going to add front view. Blue riding her bike down the sidewalk, and it's going to be a wide shot, I think. So I can't remember if I've used this on a different clip or not. So I'm just going to search it to see if I need to add a number at the end. So I don't. I only have the one, which is great news. And we keep going. So we covered already that this is going to be what did I use? There you go. That's what I wanted. So sometimes I like to take what I use and build off of that. So I'm going to copy paste it. So Blue riding her bike down the street, down the sidewalk, down the sidewalk. Blue. Okay. So Blue riding her bike, riding a bike, foot pedaling, close up. I think that's probably good. So anything that you can do to kind of save your peace of mind is going to be amazing. See how I copy pasted from somewhere else just to get the same wording kind of in place. I don't want to have too many crazy sentences of the same thing but different variations. I want to keep it very organized. I'm confident that I did not spell pedaling right, but I guess I could Google it quickly. Pedaling. Okay, P, no E. So if you have a lot of common typos, this is where the rename it tool comes in handy. So I spelled pedaling like this, and I want it to be like that. Done and done. Perfect. All right, so what's next here? So this is still Blue going down the sidewalk. So I know that this is a coffee shop. So coffee shop, oh my goodness. Damn, I don't even know how to spell coffee. Coffee. Good Lord. Coffee shop, medium, 2, Blue riding her bike off frame. And this is pretty much like a medium again. So this is two different ideas in the same clip. So the first part of it is the coffee shop medium, and then Blue riding her bike off frame. Yeah. She's coming off frame. Perfect. So this is traffic B-roll. It is a traveling shot, so it's kind of like tracking. So this is where you can kind of pick different focal points. So the subject is kind of that building in the back, and it seems to be kind of just focusing on that, but obviously traffic is going by. So you could either be, say, building. I think this is what I'm going to say. I think I'm going to just do city traffic in foreground wide. I'm going to go building with city traffic in foreground wide. I think that's a pretty good. I don't really think that the camera motion here is uber important. Because it's not really a pan, it's not really a tracking, it's just, I think that's just more than fine. So this, I would indicate that it is kind of a pan because the building is very much in subject and they are very much panning across this building. So I'm going to go pan, building, pan of building. If you hit your arrow key down, it'll bring you to the end of your text. And if you hit it up, it'll bring you to the beginning. So those are both handy dandy tools if you ever need to rename something. So pan of building, this is definitely going to be like a medium wide shot. So I'm going to rename it the exact same thing because it's pretty much the gist of that clip. All right, so blue down the sidewalk again. Blue riding her bike down the sidewalk. So there's like wide. This is tracking for sure. So tracking wide to close up, I'm gonna say, because it kind of does both. You could write various angles. But honestly, when whoever's editing this is just gonna either hit bike or sidewalk, like these wide and close-up shots aren't necessarily descriptors when people search in the search engine for specific clips. So just do the best you can, but they are important, so you have to include them in each file. So I know that this story takes place in this building, which is called Cercle Molière, which is why we have Cercle here. So she has finally arrived to her destination. So she's walking with her bike. So blue walking her bike to, I'm going to go find the name of this building. This is the theater building. So if ever you have footage that is in a different city that you're unfamiliar with all these, I would go the extra mile and find the name. So I think I'm just going to call it TCM for short. You could write the whole thing. That's probably better detailing. But because I know who's editing this, I'm fairly confident that doing this is perfectly fine. So I'm going to call it TCM building to the TCM building. And this is a, I don't know, medium wide shot. Who walking her bike to the TCM building? Did I do that right? To the TCM? Perfect. All right. Perfect. We still got a few more clips to go here. So this is happening. She's walking her bike
but this is a little bit more wide. And she's riding her bike at the beginning, and it's kind of like a bike footstep close up. So we had used nice, this is supposed to be bridge. Foot pedaling close up. So foot pedaling close up of Blue. So Blue riding her bike on the side walk, foot pedaling close up to Blue getting off her bike and walking. No, I'm not going to put that. Because getting off her bike and walking her bike, I'm just going to put to her walking her bike. Because that's pretty much what's happening. And I also recommend not naming your clips insanely long, because when we do the next step of this process, which is project managing, it will run into glitches if your title is too long. So I'm working in a large font right now, which is taking up more space than it normally would if you weren't in a large font. So I wouldn't make it go longer than this if you don't have to. So choose your words carefully. That's what I'm saying. Let's hit save. So she didn't get off her bike this time. And when you're clip labeling, I would really be conscious of what action they're trying to take. Like, I know she gets off her bike here at the end, but they still need to start the clip somewhere and end it somewhere. You're not going to start it right at the action and end it right at the action. So her getting off her bike is not necessarily a prominent scene. So, and this beginning intro is not necessarily important either. They're just trying to capture her rolling in and heading in that direction. So you don't really need to say that she's getting off her bike at the end and this sidewalk space is not really part of the storyline of the clip. So, that being said, Blue riding her bike on the sidewalk. I'm going to take that to the TCM building, close up to wide. So it is close up. Like, this is pretty close up, and then it is wide. Perfect. So let's keep going. We're almost done, sort of. So this is bird's eye view, obviously. We're looking straight down. And this is Blue entering the TCM building. I'm going to put bird's eye at the end. So Blue entering TCM, building. Bird's eye wide. Blue entering TCM building, bird's eye wide. That's exactly what's happening. So we don't really need to say that she's standing here. And that's one of the other actors, I guess. So all that stuff at the end is not important. So probably going to be her again. Yeah, so this is nice when you can just copy paste. Front view of Blue entering. Oh my god, I did it again. Blue entering TCM building. Wide. So she's running.
Réflexion sur si vous pouvez vous cacher.
Entering TCM building. To her running down the hall. Wide to close up is what I would say.
Okay.
So if I didn't know that this was a TCM building, I could use this as reference and try Googling that and seeing if something would come up, especially if it's from a different city. So we can hear the director say, "Go here." Action. Which is technically when the important start of the clip starts. So all of this is kind of dead information. So I'm going to copy paste this again. Accidentally brought that tag. So I don't like that. Okay, so front view of Blue entering TCM building to her running down the hall. To her running off frame down the hall. Wide to close up. So I'm going to add it here too. Running off frame down the hall. But just to separate both these, I am going to put TCM hallway, oops. Sign? It's not really a sign, but kind of sign wide. Sorry, wide to front view of Blue. So this is getting a little long here, so we're not going to add more, but I just wanted to differentiate these two because they're not really capturing the same vibe or image. So that's why I did that. All right, so I see that there is traffic, people standing in the bus. This is the building. I don't think that including the traffic and the bus shack is very much the point of this shot. So I would just say outside TCM building. It's kind of like a wide to close up. Outside TCM building wide to sign to TCM sign close up. So yeah, that's what I would do because it starts off wide, it's the outside of the building, and I don't really think that this camera movement is important. Like, and it's kind of a hard one to describe. Like, it's not really a pan. I guess it's kind of like a forward motion, but I think it's covering the just from we are outside the TCM building wide, and then it's moving to a TCM sign close up. I think that's perfectly fine. Again, this person walking by is probably just some random pedestrian on the street, not knowing that they're shooting right now. So, not important. I think I'm just going to copy paste what I had because I think that that's perfect. And I'm actually going to add B-roll to that because it's B-roll. It's important, but it's not pertinent to the storyline. So B-roll it is. All right, I think I only have
couple more clips here, so I'll do the rest with you guys, and then I think, unless something crazy pops up, I will do the rest on my own and come back when we are ready for the next step. All right, so this is TCM building wide with traffic in the foreground, wide. So TCM building wide with traffic in the foreground wide. Yeah, perfect. So this is also B-roll. It's gonna be more of the same. Okay, so if you're, I'm kind of not tripped up, but I don't have a clear idea of how I'm going to label this. So start with the basics. So this is the TCM building wide. Okay, so we've got that covered. So it kind of goes wide to medium. Okay, so maybe extreme wide actually. TCM building extreme wide to medium. I think I'm gonna go forward pan. Is this a slow-mo clip? It is a slow-mo clip, look at that. So yay, so we can see that it doesn't have any audio, and make sure that you have this little play audio while scrubbing clicked on, and that'll indicate whether, oh, this is also slow-mo, nice, whether or not you get to see these green audio indicators. So I'm going to turn it off just so you can see. So if I have this off and you scrub, you will be fooled and think it's slow-mo when it's not. So make sure you have it on. Oh, sweet. So okay, so side of TMC building wide. Foreground B-roll slow-mo, so okay. This is kind of like a pan, so let's just do pan. Pan, side of TMC building, perfect. I have something important to show you guys after these 4 clips. I'm just trying to get through them. So, okay. These tiny little camera movements are not important. They're just, it's the sign that they're trying to capture. Cool. This also B-roll. So I would do fence, vertical. Vertical is like an up and down motion, so this is obviously going up, like straight up. So vertical. Fence to TCM building vertical. Building sign. Vertical B-roll. So I think I would go front view traffic, street traffic next to TCM building wide. This is almost sunset time. If it was pertinent to the story, I would either indicate if it's like morning or night. I don't think that it is for this shoot. They're just capturing B-roll, so I'm gonna leave it. But I did work on a shoot where they were hunting and it was like 4 a.m. and they were hunting and it was like 7 p.m. So in the case like that, I would do like hunting, like sunrise, or hunting sunset, stuff like that. But obviously we're not doing that one right now. I'm just sharing what I know. So I'm gonna take this side view, street traffic next to, that's perfectly fine for me. So I know for a fact that I have missed a few slow-mo clips. I have done so on purpose to show you this little gate-kept secret of mine. So essentially, I like to label things that I've completed with purple. Purple is my personal working color, so I know that this is complete and we can move forward to the next one. But I'm going to do the other ones on my own unless something I feel worth sharing comes up. But when you're completed all your namings of each of these, as a security blanket, I guess you could say, is I would drag everything in that folder into a timeline. This is where it gets messy. I'm trying to do it all in one screen here, but usually I would have this in a different screen. So I would drag all those clips into my timeline, and I would zoom in as much as possible. I would open up these audio files so you can see, and you're going to use your arrow up and down keys, and you're kind of just going to flip through with your arrow keys through all of them to see if you have missed any slow-mo. So slow-mo will be clips with no audio. So right now you can perfectly see some audio files being generated in this window. So we're just going to keep going down until we hit some with no. Okay, so that just needed some time to load, which is very normal. We're going to keep going. So this is a slow-mo clip that I failed to identify that is slow-mo. So we clearly have our handy-dandy naming convention. So we have clip 33. So I'm going to go find that clip. I'm just going to shrink this a bit. 33. So this is a slow-mo clip. So see how it's labeled 1 and 2? This now changes everything. So slow-mo is going to be added to the end. I always put B-roll slow-mo, not slow-mo B-roll, because things can be B-roll and not slow-mo, and you just kind of want to keep that naming file organized. Like I don't want some to have slow-mo B-roll, B-roll slow-mo. Just try to put B-roll first and slow-mo at the end if slow-mo applies. So that one is now changed. And this one is also a slow-mo, so it's going to change to this. And then we're going to that. So it's important to keep things organized. Again, that's what I'm saying, like organize. That's literally my job, is to hand a neat and tidy organized session. So you just have to keep everything in mind. So I am well aware that changing the names here in my project window is not going to change them in your timeline. If you have show source clips, names, and label, they will change, but I really recommend you don't work with the setting on, because it can cause mass confusion. And if it is on and you can see your clips changing as you go, and if you hand your project off to someone else and this feature is off, it's going to not match up anymore. So the best way to fix that is you're just gonna remove these clips from the timeline that aren't labeled the same as the way you changed
the namings in your project window, so you're going to get rid of them. And if you drag them again, they will pop up. And this is what you want. And this is still checked off. And if I rotate between the two, it's not going to have a discrepancy between my files. Just something to keep in mind. We are still in the early stages of naming, so it's not crucial to even go that extra mile, because this timeline we're just going to get rid of anyways. We are just checking to see for slow-mo clips. So again, with this one, clip 35 is a slow-mo, so I'm going to get rid of that one. And this is no longer going to be 2 because we've changed the names. They're no longer identical. Let's keep flipping. I had a feeling this one might be slow-mo 2. So again, keep in mind, add your slow-mo. This now also becomes 1 and this becomes 2. And see how the names don't match up? That does not matter for now. So this one is labeled slow-mo, which is fantastic. And I like to work zoom in because you can see the word slow-mo attached to the name of the clip when you hit with your arrows. So had I previously missed it, like I can't see that it says B-roll slow-mo at the end. And if you're working like this, it eats the names of your clips, so you can't clearly see. So just work like this and hit down. So slow-mo's good, slow-mo's good, no slow-mo, perfect, 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 perfect. So this one just needed to load. I'm assuming this one too. Maybe not. Sweet, so I missed that one. So this is clip 9. Chick. If you're wondering why 9 is at the end, it's just because I dragged it in a non-chronological order, so that's really not important. Perfect. So we have that double checked and triple checked. We don't need our timeline anymore. And this is considered finito. This can just be deleted. So we don't have to label the audio files. They're just going to stick to their naming convention. Okay, there's not many here, so I guess I'll do them with you guys. Sweet. So usually B cam and A cam are filming similar things, just from different focal points. So here we have person 1 interview wide. So this is going to become person 1 interview medium. Perfect. I think this is person 2. Oh shit. Wait, what? Oh, look at that. I made a mistake. So this is person 1 still. See how not everything is flawless, man? This is just the nature of the job. And the earlier you catch your mistakes, the better. So this is still person. So this has now become person 2. And this person 3 okay, so 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sick. So this still remains person 1, 1. Who did we say that was? Person 2, okay. I'm sure you guys can hear that sound. That's just the time code machine generating that noise, and that's nice that we have time code. I currently have this one soloed because without it, it's just like, yeah, insanely loud. Anyways, so work with your just solo and you will still hear the tentacle being played. All right, do day 2. So here I have labeled the clips and I realized that I didn't add a camera shot. So I just want to add, I guess medium at the end of Allison. So if I go work with selected, name, and I want to target the word Allison, and I'm going to replace it with Allison wide. I'm adding Allison again because if I just did wide, it's going to replace the word Allison with wide, and I want the word Allison to remain. So I guess I could show you guys. So I go, let's go. Exactly what I thought. So I'm going to undo. And I'm going to do as I had mentioned. And that only did the one because I've only selected the one. So perfect. So because there is repetition here, so it goes Allison, Allison, and then it was probably going to go Winnie, Winnie, and it's probably going to go Kanai, Kanai. So I'm going to just take this. Assume, yeah, this is Winnie again. So I'm just going to type Winnie and paste my previous text. So either it's going to go Winnie again or Kanai. Yeah, so now we can just go Kanai. Add this. And it's all about speed. So again. Nice. This is Allison's face. And I don't think you would want to write Allison's face while rehearsing because Allison is the indicator that it's her face, really. But if it was her feet, then you would go Allison's feet close up or Allison's footsteps walking. But the fact that it's her face is described by using the word Okay, so we've got some new characters in the block. I have been given a handy dandy call sheet, which I will drag on the window, which is very amazing. It kind of gives you the breakdown of the day, what's going on, and the people. If you're doing assistant editing work for other people, I would definitely ask for a timesheet. It kind of breaks down the day for you really well, and it kind of gives you an idea of whose name is who. And if this call sheet doesn't help, feel free to reach out and send pictures and ask to identify the people, place, location. But now we have the names. So we have Roland, we have Lise, and we have Geneviève Pelletier. So I think I'm just going to copy the word interview so I don't have to keep spelling it a bunch of times. Well, as I just spelled it. Okay. So I know that these are all going to be medium, so I'm just going to take this bottom half and then just write the names. Okay, so I thought it was kind of weird that we had Lise at the beginning and Lise at the end, which kind of raised a red flag in my brain that maybe these weren't labeled in chronological order, which they haven't. So this one was at 149, and then this one was what, 228, and then 228, 348. So if we hit date modified, they will be in order, which makes this out of order. So I would go rename these. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is gonna be 3. It's just annoying to do it like this because you can't have 2 clips labeled the same. So I have to do that. Okay, so these are now in order, which means that these are no longer in order, and we want everything to match. Because we only have 4 clips, But I'm just going to go ahead and delete this whole box. I'm going to re-import it. So now they're back to back, which is a nice feeling. So I'm on my last day here, and I guess this is them acting out whatever play. So I'm not gonna go the extra mile and write down every movement of every person. So I'm just gonna write down the people. That's important. And I guess I'm gonna just, like, I'm just trying to find the right words to say, like, that they're acting out the play. I'm having a hard time figuring out. Is there a special word for that? Play actors. Why is it called a play? Actors in a play. What are actors called? An actress, yeah. Performing? Yeah, performing. Okay. Performing. There you go. Performing. That's just that. So this is the real deal, folks. So this is all them. So notice that I'm just checking to see how many clips in a row was going to be the three of them performing. And I counted 3. So there we go. And then now we're in the close-ups of, I guess, Allison performing. I think performing, I'm going to add on stage to these. Okay, so they're still performing, but they're in, I guess it's kind of like a common room. I think I'm going to call it the common room, actually. Almost done. This is sort of like a rack focus. It's changing focus. We didn't have any rack focus in this one now that I think about it, but if you're not sure what rack focus is, I guess I could pull it up on Google and show you. Rack focus example. So it's kind of like this. When you have something in the foreground and it's like a blurry background and it can shift, kind of like this. I think this is the focal. Rack focus again. Yeah, rack focus. Hell yeah. Sweet. So if ever you come across rack focus, that's what that is. A little bit of rack focus, but I'm going to include it just for funsies. Rack focus poster in Le Cercle Molière. Be closer. B-roll. And it is not slow-mo. This is kind of like a fisheye, I would say. Yeah, see, it's kind of like a bubbly. I would probably call that fisheye, just for funsies. Perf. So that completes everything. They can all be purple. You love that. Hit save a bunch. Perfect. We are now done all the logging, the glorious, glorious logging. And if you didn't know, that's what that was called. It's called logging. And we are logged. All right, so once everything is logged and labeled and blah, 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 we're going to close this. We're going to open a timeline. And we have to drag at least one clip in the timeline in order for Project Manager to project manage. So once we have our timeline and that clip, you're going to hit File, Project Manager. Exclude unused clips is checked off. Include audio. Collect files and copy to new location. That is what we want. It's a little bit misleading because you would think that it would only copy over one clip from the timeline, but it'll do them all. So we want to save this. And I'm going to actually create a new folder. I'm going to call it logged footage. Logged, create. and we are going to hit choose. And we're going to be okay. Yes. We're going to see that Premiere Pro is doing its thing, and it's putting all of my logged footage with the new name in a new folder, and that's exactly what we want. So this process usually takes quite a while, and once this is all done, we're going to organize this folder. But for the time being, I think my work here is done.
Once you have completed reorganizing your logged footage, you are ready to start your sync maps. Class dismissed!